Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Geeks Who Like Sports, episode number 21. I can't believe we made it. We are now legal to drink. This is something that we have been waiting for a long time. This is fantastic. We are joined by some fantastic people, but first, as always, I'm Ray Carcillo, one of the co-hosts of the show, and joined by my best buddy here to my right, Lee Elias from Philadelphia, but here actually in Seattle with me. This is the first time we're actually recording an episode in person together. Lee, how are you doing tonight?
Well, Ray, for those of you not watching this, you're at a podium and I'm sitting below you, which is really condescending in a weird way. That's the first thing, but I'm going to allow it today. Also, we always start with a mug. We got new Geeks Who Like Sports mugs. I don't know about you out there, but when you get this is the official big-time deal right here, right? They are not for sale.
Merchandising.
Yeah. But I'm doing great, Ray. Thanks for having me, as always, in Seattle, away from Philadelphia.
To his right is Duncan Stanley. Duncan, of course, is National Sales Director of Swag Dog. Duncan, how are you, good sir?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
And as are the Bills' chances this year of clinching another Super Bowl in their long continuing victory.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt that we took?
Is it opposite day?
They're going all the way.
You heard it here first on Geeks Who Like Sports. The Bills are going all
football
the way.
team.
They're not. Yeah, the Bills are a football team. The Bills are going to have probably a top 10 draft pick. To my immediate left is Gordon Bellamy, of course, visiting scholar at USC Esports and former designer of Madden Football. Yes, that Madden Football from EA Sports. Gordon, how are you tonight?
I'm excited to be here and part of this proud tradition of you doing your podcast together live.
Yes.
First of many.
Yes, the first of many. Hopefully we'll come back PAX East and PAX South, and we'll just keep on doing it live.
PAX Australia with Australian rules football. That's what I'm waiting for.
That would be awesome. I actually went to Australia earlier this year. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. I would love to go back.
Oh my gosh, tight Jersey game. We see you.
Yes.
We see you. And Overwatch, we see you.
Yeah.
Loving your choices already.
Awesome. And to my far left is Mel Kirk, of course, Vice President of Zen Studios. Mel, thank you for joining us.
I'm in. There's nothing like the first time.
Yes. First time, long time, right?
First time, you and your bro,
Yeah.
it's good.
Nice.
Is this a 13-plus panel? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep the swearing to a minimum, but we'll try. We'll try our best to keep it PG. So for those of you who don't know, Geeks Who Like Sports, why me and Lee started the show is basically because we, like you here, probably enjoy geeky things and sporty things, and we're having conversations about our favorite teams, but also our favorite Avengers. And we were kind of like, if we're having these conversations, there's probably other people out there who are having those conversations too and might want to tune in and listen. And we found that there's a lot more people out there.
It's amazing. Yeah, when we decided this, we were talking at least once a week for an hour. And it was, like you said, we just had this thing like, why don't we just do a podcast? Maybe people will listen. And now we're in Seattle sitting at a panel at PAX. It's unbelievable. But we always say this, it's like you're our oxygen, whether it's your first time listening or never listening. Without you, we don't exist. So we appreciate you being here today. It means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Thank you. Well, the original audience, the original live. Have you done a live audience before?
this is our first live audience.
It's the first time.
The goal is
were
to make
there.
sure. Yeah.
Yes.
You
We
were
got to get
there.
the arms
You'll
uncrossed.
Someday, when we're in
Like I'm in a
Hydra,
film.
it'll be like guaranteed seats for the original audience.
That's it, yeah.
You're going to be talking to your grandkids about this.
Yes.
I want you all to know that.
Yes.
I was
I know I
there.
am.
But yeah, so of course, another big thing about Geeks Who Like Sports is that it's very, I don't know about you guys, but like me and Lee were growing up, we were labeled as geeks or jocks or whatever. And again, we are very much against just kind of pigeonholing people into one thing. You can like a multitude of things. And I think that's also the thing, we're a very welcoming community. I think we want people to know that like, whatever you enjoy, whether you're an Eagles fan or a Bills fan or a champion fan like New York Giants, or Cowboys or Niners, that you're welcome, So I know the Giants don't look very good this year either, but.
Well, it was great being here, Ray. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing here. And now we're going to get actually into the show. Okay. So, guys, this is obviously we're here at PAX. We typically start off with a geeky thing. Nothing is more, apropos that we'll be talking about. We're at PAX. We should be talking about PAX. Lee, this is your first PAX. What are your thoughts on it so far, buddy?
What I love about events like this is, and you kind of said it in the introduction, is, we grew up, we got ridiculed for a lot of things that we love. And to see the gaming community, but just this culture here of all the people here coming together and everyone's accepted, like you said, but also just the power of it. I mean, you're walking around the main hall today, and I'm blown away by just the love of everything that's here, right? So I love, as Ray knows, I'm a community builder. That's kind of what I do outside of this. And to see a community this strong after years of being told our whole lives that this is not going to amount to anything, right? We're all here because we love this, right? You know what I mean? So to be able to see that with you and as a group, that's the thing that really stands out to me. And just the power of the industry is just incredible. I mean, we tweeted out today, like, if you don't think gaming is big, because there's people out there just think this is still a fad. It's unbelievable to me. You know what I mean? It's like 10,000 plus people here. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, if not more. Yeah.
And I wouldn't piss them off. That's what I was like, yeah.
There's like 80,000 plus people.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Tens of thousands of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. It's beautiful, but it's really the power of you together and everybody together. That's the thing that stands out to me.
I mean, that's the thing too. Is like everybody here on this panel has basically made a career in games or geekdom somehow to prove that yes,
or sports,
or sports. Well, you've done some geeky things too.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right, so now I'm going to go to everybody here because down the line because everybody here probably PAX means something different to you. I mean, I'm going to start with you, Mel. As a developer, when you see PAX on the calendar, what does that mean for you guys? And like, as you know, what does this show stand for you? Like,
PAX means Christmas is just around the corner. It's a long year, man. PAX is like the biggest celebration. It really kicks off the holiday season. It's a symbol of like what the industry's about, the freedom, the excitement about like why everyone's going to be hanging out together in the holidays and like playing games, getting around and kicking it around. For Zen, I mean, we're an indie, and we always try to like, how do we fit in from August to December?
Mm-hmm.
And PAX represents an opportunity because you don't have like EA and Activision, these guys here, but like it's all about kind of us now. It's kind of turned into that time. So we really enjoy that. And Microsoft actually had an awesome event the other night where it was like this open house where they had like 2,500 people just come to their campus and check out a bunch of indies, and that was really cool. So I don't know, it's just a big celebration. We get excited, but it does mean like the end of a year. Q4 is about to kick off, and that's a weird thing to say, but like we all have that on our mind because that's where we make all of our money. So please buy all the indie games. Thank you.
That's a great point. Indie games really, they are front and center here at PAX. It's like one of the few shows where the indie games really kind of take charge and are championed here more than any other show. I mean, I know when I was working at Electronic Gaming Monthly, we looked forward to PAX because it was a chance for us to really figure out what indie games we would or would not cover going forward in the final quarter because it is such a crowded section of the year. I mean, we've got tons and tons of AAA games. And speaking of AAA games, somebody who's worked on a couple here, Gordon, right? With Madden and NHL. I want to get your opinion on what do you feel about PAX? Especially now that you're champion, more of an esports champion.
Sure. I mean, great. PAX is like an MMO we get to live, right? Mm-hmm. We all get to come here, and we're all characters on our little missions, like to play games, to meet each other, to be on podcasts. It's also the weekend to plan your Final Fantasy football keepers.
Yes.
Right? So if you're in a keeper league, this is the weekend where you, like me and my co-owner, who are life partners in football, like have to have that real talk about who's staying and who's going. No, it's a big deal because next week is the draft.
I'm cutting my flight
get
short
to everyone when you play
to make my draft.
fantasy football, right? Yeah. And like when you have to let them all go and just keep, who's going to stay. Like for us, Todd Gurley, right?
Yeah.
And that's a real choice that we're living right now. Do you keep Jameis Winston? Right? That's also PAX for me. So
nice.
And to see everyone coming out, like it's so incredible that to see everyone make this pilgrimage to be together. Like people are connected usually like online to play, but now we're actually like even in this room, like we're actually together. It's like we see each other's faces. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Can I comment on that too?
Yeah.
Gordon, I want to tell you, it's funny because I was kind of like the reverse into geekdom in video games where I was a jock in high school, so it was almost not cool to be a geek back when I was in high school and be a jock. And the best friends I had were my friends into comic books and into movies and stuff like that. So just tagging on what you said there, it's amazing we can all be in a place like this together now and just totally like together. Like that's the key word I want to say too. I just want to say that because it's funny to see all walks of this life come together right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's also like no like console rivalry or whatever here. There's not like people aren't literally like Nintendo. There's no like real versus vibe like you might even see on the internet. Yeah. So it's actually that's something that's really.
This is celebration. This is coming together.
Yeah.
This is unity of what we all love to do. No question.
Well, this is something me and Lee actually talked about on the previous episode. Is that is there even a console war still going on? Like, I think that,
question.
like, you see Nintendo and Microsoft, at least then those two, have really worked to kind of, like, break down barriers a bit.
Well, I would ask
I mean,
them.
it's- I mean,
do, you,
it's not-
do you think there's a console war,
Yeah.
or is it over? You know?
PC war is happening right now as you
That's
speak.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think.
Xbox versus PlayStation. It's Xbox
Yeah.
and PlayStation versus PC.
That's a very good point. From the crowd, if you couldn't hear in the audio, it's PC versus consoles, PC versus Xbox and PlayStation.
Well, I think people take a deeper dive into games now. Like, there isn't as much rivalry because people play and I guess sort of microtransact. Like, they play what they play and not even in rivalry to someone else. Like, if you play a game, either you're in it and you're like 100 hours or 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours in. And it used to be people sampled more. So you'd be like, oh, I like this or that, when games were a little lighter, I think, for time than they are today.
Yeah. You also, I mean, we can't deny that there's like a PC war going on right now too. Like you got Epic versus Valve,
Yeah.
right? But
That's true.
that's kind of taken over the console war.
But do you see people sort of like being like passionate, like I'm super steamy?
Oh yeah,
You're
dude.
You're so.
So
cool.
Zen signed a.
So, you know, how dare you download off that
Hashtag
lame
Steamy.
download? platform?
I'll tell you something right
Okay,
now.
I'll give it.
Yeah. So Zen, we took Epic's money for a game.
Yeah.
Right. We did it,
Sure.
and we had a week of hate. But then our wish list blew through the roof.
Okay.
And they were like, "We hate you, Zen. You're horrible. You're horrible." But meanwhile, they're wish listing our game. And now, like every week, you have a story about how everybody hates Epic, and like Steam. Like all the Steam fanboys are there, but all the like heads of studios are talking about how the business model needs to change. So there's a PC war going on. I think it's overshadowing the console war.
So the war, so the war has changed. There's still battles going on. It's just different players now, basically.
Totally.
War never changes. I'd point that out. But so I'm Duncan. I've been in the industry since 2000.
Yeah.
My first job was at God Games when I was 17, publishing Max Payne and Tropico 1. Yeah. And I've seen it all. I mean, I missed the original, console wars, but I was there for like Xbox and PS2 era shenanigans. And yeah, I agree with the sentiment that like, there's kind of a civil war going on PC, but it seems to be like, EGS, Epic Game Store, doing its own thing and like making lots of headway, while Steam is like, whatever, we're fine, we don't care.
The cake is a lie.
We have Dota, and they're still doing fine, and Epic is out there actively trying to get exclusives and making all the deals, and then on the other side, it feels like the number of console exclusive games has dropped drastically lately. You might have ones that are like PlayStation exclusives, because Sony's done a very good job of getting exclusives in that department. But I feel like the Xbox versus Sony versus Nintendo situation is really pretty tame right now compared to Epic versus Steam, or at least how some people view that, because Steam doesn't seem to care.
Yeah. Media kind of changed too. Like back in the day, we'd read like a magazine, like an EGM, and I could sort of picture in my head that cover, right, of like Mario versus
totally,
Sonic
dude.
or whatever. But like some streamer today, I can't really picture them going like, download wars, watch my
No.
stream.
PSM, OXM, all these. Yeah, come on. It's a different day.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I remember, like when I was at EGM, we even up until the launch of Xbox One and PS4, we did alternate covers. It's like why PS4 will win the war, why Xbox One will win the war, and it didn't really move the needle at all. Like things are different now.
Well, it's cyclical. They all act a different way depending on how they've done that generation.
Yeah.
It's sort of interesting, the different distribution mechanisms versus different machines. Like it used to be a hardware war, right? But now it's not. It's a distribution.
I have to be careful what I say because I'm a dev who lives with first parties.
Is this for Twitch party? Okay.
No, I mean, like, we need the first party, they need us, but, like, we need them more. So there's Nintendo and Sony are operating like business as usual, like nothing's changed. Then you've got guys like Microsoft, Epic, Google, Apple, all these guys who are new entries with different streaming models and doing all this different stuff, and like they don't care about first-party IP, while Nintendo and Sony really only care about their own IP now. So as an indie dev, they act a certain way towards you, and the others are much more open, but they should all be up here on a panel talking to each other too.
Speaking of war, Stadia. Did you check out Stadia?
Who understands Stadia? Does anybody out here understand Stadia?
Yeah. it's streaming something. But that's an interesting point because Mel, you mentioned Nintendo and Sony act one way, whereas Microsoft and Google and Apple, they all act another. Do you think it's because of their backgrounds and where they come from, like as developers and whatnot, or because Microsoft and Apple did PC and
I say this with the most respect I could possibly say. 2 of them are Japanese companies, and the other 4 are not.
Interesting, very interesting. That makes a lot of sense. There are very big cultural differences between the East and West, and those divides have only gotten, in my time in the industry, have only gotten wider, I feel. So, very interesting. Before we move on, also I want to mention, I want to get Duncan, I want to get your thoughts on what PAX means to you. Because I mean, you mentioned you've been in the industry a long time. I've known you from your PR days, and now obviously you're doing a lot of apparel and stuff like that. So how has things changed? How has PAX changed for you in that time, especially since you've been in different parts of the industry?
My first PAX was 2010, 2011. I was booth beef for a company I'd end up working for later, just managing lines and doing whatever. Just got hired contract to work, the 3 day. Back then it was 3 days of the show, in exchange for a badge and whatever. I'd say coming from the industry side of like a publisher, where I've spent most of my career, has been dread. PAX is a very long show. We usually get in on Tuesday and leave Tuesday. Building the booth, getting the demos ready the month before, wrangling assets and terrible journalists like Ray to show up to their appointments on time and grasp what we're trying to get them to say, and the exact words we want them to put in their articles, which they never do. And it was a lot of work goes into PAX from an exhibitor standpoint, and I think a lot of people miss that as an attendee of just the months of planning, hundreds or thousands of hours, and then the days are really long. You don't get a break. You're here for 7 days, at least 12-hour days, and working shows was never. I loved it. I was the events guy, so it was my job to manage them, and it was a sense of dread where it's excitement, then turns into like, oh gosh, there's 3 more days of this. My feet already hurt. My back hurts. And then you're out drinking and you're out till 2, and then you have to be, booth calls 7 a.m. and
Sounds like playing hockey.
Yeah, it's hard. It was dread, but now it's been a couple years since I was manning a booth at a PAX, and it's turned back into like enjoyment. I look forward to PAX. I look forward to going, seeing friends, seeing what cool games are out there. Now that I'm a little bit on the outside of the industry, making apparel and merch, I don't know what everything's going on, new announcements and all that stuff. So it's kind of turned back into like an enjoyment for me, whereas before it was like, oh God, PAX East, kill me now, kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's definitely enjoyable for me now. I look forward to PAX. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm on this panel. I'm glad I'm seeing all my friends and seeing new games and getting to play them. And I think that's something I missed as an exhibitor on the other side of the table. And I'm sore I missed it.
So just to keep things steamy in here, Gordon's word, not mine. Ray, your thoughts on journalists at PAX?
I think that I was actually going to say I think it's very interesting that Duncan mentions it's very easy for us as either devs or journalists to be so close to everything because we're worrying about deadlines, we're trying to be the first ones out there, we're trying to get interviews that would be interesting to draw traffic, that sometimes you kind of forget to have fun. I mean, and that's the core of why we all got into this industry. I mean, and that's kind of what I'm kind of happy that I've had a chance to kind of take a couple-year break from it myself. This is my first PAX since 2015, and I think that, I think as an ex-journalist, that it...
Former journalist.
Yeah, I still have my standards and whatnot, but I think that, you get to enjoy it a bit more. You lose that enjoyment when you do it year after year after year, and especially this time of year, I used to have to do the circuit where it was San Diego Comic-Con, Gamescom, PAX.
GameStop Expo.
Exactly. And you're thinking, oh, what was you? But it's a lot. It starts to wear on you when you're traveling that much and you're constantly running around and you don't get a chance to stop at home and you're literally you're living out of a piece of luggage for 6 weeks at a time.
They really twisted his arm to be here tonight. You have no idea.
No.
Yeah.
It was
I am thrilled to be at PAX. We are all thrilled to be at PAX. I am thrilled to be at PAX, no longer as a journalist, but again as a fan. That's what I'm trying to say.
Did anybody in here travel far for here, or are you guys mostly West Coasters here? Yeah, where'd you come from? Austin, Texas?
Nice.
Nice city.
Wearing your Franklin shirt?
Denver, Colorado? Anybody East Coast? Atlanta, I'm guessing. No, Carolina. All right, I'm from Philadelphia. It's a household name.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
No, it's a good point. It's a very good point. So, thank you for coming so far, and thank you for coming into our panel. We really appreciate it. Yeah. So, speaking of PAX and the games with things we've been seeing, what are some of the cool things you guys saw today? Mel, how about you?
Castle Crashers is coming to Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Like, I played that game. So back in the original XBL days, we launched alongside Castle Crashers. So I have I know those guys really well, and our games we've intertwined together through history. And I had no idea that they were coming to Switch, and so I'm just walking through, and then I can play it on the Switch, and that's cool. Another game called Blasphemous, which we were actually sitting next to last night at this Microsoft press event, and then I saw today in the Team 17 booth. Is a really cool. It totally has got the Dark Souls atmosphere, hardcore platformer. Really, you have to be on point with your mechanic. It's very deadly. You just die very quick and you respawn. But those two games, I look and I'm very excited about. So Blasphemous from Team 17 and Castle Crashers coming from Behemoth on the Switch. Done.
Nice. Castle Crashers can get ported from here to infinity, and I think I would still play it on
All the time, everywhere, any day.
for sure. Gordon, how about you?
God, so PAX, we had a big party last night, so I enjoyed the party. Coming down here to the show today, it's the people. I don't know, it's sort of a vibe for me. I spend a lot of time, it's my whole career, in games, but that's the product, right? This is us.
Yeah.
And so I think that is actually the most, you see little kids in their cosplay. I saw some little girl in her Wonder Woman outfit, nothing years old, but now they'll be a PAX person forever, right? And I'm what does that even mean? They've gone all your life. They'll think of it we think of maybe of Disneyland or something that you went with your parents as a kid and then you sort of grow up and enjoy it a different way. As far as games specifically, there's a studio called Kinji. Maybe Kanji. They had a game with a fox.
Oh,
a super cute game with a fox up on above the main floor. It was up on. God, I got the count.
It's got to be 6.
Level
Six.
6. Yeah.
Level 6. Anyway, they're called Kinji. The fox is super cute. It was just fun. It's sort of for me. It's always great to. We get the opportunity to play so many games. So finding original delight is actually sort of rare. It's I like my old rock and roll, I like it. So when I find something that's new and delightful to me, that's what sort of captured me today. I actually spent time hands on sticks playing.
Awesome. Have to go up and try that tomorrow. Duncan, what about you? What have you played today? If anything?
I got here at 5 and was on the show floor for an hour. I saw Teppen, Gung Ho's new, Capcom Street Fighter fighting game, mixed with Teppen stuff or Gung Ho stuff. I played it for 2 minutes. Thought that was awesome. I'm more of a hardware guy. I went around to all the hardware booths and just checked out that stuff first, see what people are new, all the new RGB stuff. I like the new Astro A40 ID system where it's all you can kind of build your own Astro headset with neon colors and all kinds of cool stuff. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool because I've always wanted to tweak things a little bit, and then they finally did it where you can build your own. So I thought that was really cool. But I really didn't get to spend enough time on the floor. I only hit the 4th floor and only a third of it. So I don't have a whole lot to say there.
No, that's fine. Lee, what about you?
I saw Austin Creed destroy a 10-year-old at Smash Brothers today in this very room.
Yeah.
He was relentless. The kid challenged him. It was like a WWE promo. The kid just told him he was going to destroy him. He just was relentless. He just took him out real quick. And then he told him, one day you'll remember this. And him and the kid kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
I know that's not a game, but it was I'm into the experience of the whole thing. The other thing, too, is I play Pokemon Go a lot because my son and I go outside and play that game. A little dated, but there was a huge booth and there was 600 stuffed animals of the Pokemon there.
Yep.
And I got really excited because I'm going to get this kid some Pokemon and stuff like that. And then he told me he wanted Mario. So I have to go. I can get a Mario now. But no, actually, I'm going to echo Gordon. The people, and just the kindness of the people from the East Coast, I'm not used to seeing that. So they say please and thank you, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm just these are foreign words to me.
Yeah. For me, Super Meat Boy Forever.
Yeah.
I got to play Super Meat Boy Forever, and it was really good. If you like the original Super Meat Boy, this is going to be just as punishing a platformer. I'm kind of an idiot savant when it comes to platformers. So like, I kind of embarrassingly died like 100 times in the same level. I died like twice. So
Yeah, you're gonna pay for that later.
just
Shouldn't have done
I got to get the shots in when I can.
When do we transition to sports? It's coming soon. Be ready.
Actually, what I was gonna say, that's probably a good time. Usually it's Lee beating up on me in some sort of sport, but we're here in Seattle, of course, for PAX. This is a great time to talk about the newest Seattle team that will be coming here to Seattle next hockey season or season and a half.
we got people here with Seattle jerseys.
The 2020-2021 season. They're building the new arena, a key arena. They're keeping the roof, but they're going to have a brand new facility. Of course, there is a 32nd NHL franchise coming here to Seattle. We have no idea what they're called yet.
But we're gonna find out today, aren't we?
We are going to have
We've
some fun.
breaking
Seattle
news here.
Supersonics.
We are going to have some fun trying to come up with some suggestions for some names. Lee,
Supersonics.
being the hockey expert, I want to start with you. What do you think will be a possible name for the new Seattle franchise?
Well, it's a tough one because someone told us today that they're starting to reveal the colors for the team, and there's a lot of salmon-colored things, which if they come out with the Seattle Salmon, there's going to be a problem in this town. I can tell you that, right? You know what? What's your name, buddy? David has a Seattle hockey jersey on right now. There's no team name. Is that like a team you play on?
Minor league, yeah.
Minor league.
Hockey team that was here, they moved to Kent
Gotcha.
because the arena wouldn't
Yeah.
charge too much.
But you're obviously a hockey fan here. Obviously. Are you excited about the team coming in? The salmon. The sushi. Yeah. The steel. Is that your
Steelhead.
vote?
Okay.
Cool.
I've heard
that
pilots. No, it's nothing's official yet, right? Steelheads is
Nothing's
not a bad.
official.
I can see like king salmon working, but that's kind of terrible.
The
I'm gonna
king
go.
salmon.
I'm gonna go with the Sonics. Just keep it real.
That'd be gutsy, right?
Steal the name.
Yeah.
Lawsuits. It'll be great.
What happens when they move a basketball team back here? They're the Super Sonics.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Done. Like it's,
Sean Kemp's gonna want some royalties.
yeah. I mean, all they gotta do is like license the team name. It's not like it's being used. Boom.
Yeah, one name we did here today, which I thought was cool, was the Kraken, the Seattle
Yeah.
Kraken.
Yeah.
Which
That's more like an
yeah.
XFL name. Though.
Yeah. Well, they have a team coming here too, right? Isn't there an XFL team coming here? The Dragons. Yeah.
That's a great name.
Yeah, this is about to become a big sports city here. So we were talking about this. We do a hockey show outside of this. We asked people to talk about names, and one of the things they said was that people in Seattle don't know anything about hockey. Exactly. Exactly. Which I thought
was our
crazy.
reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, we defended the area, but we actually went to Key Arena yesterday. It's not finished yet. We found out. Yeah, they wouldn't let us in.
Lot of dirt. Lot
Yeah.
of dirt.
What do you guys think the name's going to be? Or what would you want it to be? That's another one. The Mets.
The Mets.
Like the Metropolitans.
Yeah.
1917 Stanley Cup winners. First team in America to do
There you
so.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Over
Old
here
school.
we got Franklin's. Or what do you got?
The cattle.
The cattle.
Seattle
herd.
Cattle. Oh, it rhymes.
It's like a
We
literative,
got the
like
rhyming.
rhyming. I get it.
I've
I've got.
What do you guys? You got anything?
I've got mine.
I don't know.
I think, and this may be this is geek culture, is what I feel. Wait for it. Now it's gonna grow on you. It's gonna grow on you. It's inclusive. It's not appropriative or whatever. Thundersticks.
The Thunder Sticks.
with an X, because that's trademark.
No. It's not like a 70s, like a W whatever World League like Thundersticks. It'd be like the Thunder, and the fans would all have them, and it'd just be, and then you could get that AC/DC song. It sells itself.
Thunderstruck,
And the
Is there-
crowd
are there
could- The crowd
thunderstorms?
could get all around it, like a little bit of nature, a little bit.
Are
of
there
nature
thunderstorms
to it.
in Seattle?
And the logos.
Any
I
lo-
mean,
yeah, I live in LA.
things with the
There's no
lightning.
weather.
I'm just saying
The
merch.
crowd's kind of lukewarm on that one, Gordon.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm getting
think-
amped
I
up
think
here.
Gordon-
I'm already like.
Gordon, what's the mascot's name on the
Yeah.
Thunder Sticks?
You mean the Thunder? Oh my God.
Is it a
Slappy. Duh.
a laminated vinyl tube?
Slappy. Duh. Slappy.
All right, superstar journalist Robert Workman. What do you got?
Silver
I like
Hawks.
that.
Yeah.
Alliteration.
I'm
Alliteration.
sure the Blackhawks won't have any problem. with that
Are they called the Hawk? Do people call the Seahawks the Hawks? No, that's Atlanta. Because they're the Falcons, which is kind of hawk. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna vote for what I did in my NHL 19 creative franchise, which is the Sea Dogs.
Like Portland.
the great minor league baseball
That's a
team.
Portland,
Sea Dogs.
and you will get sued, sir. Sued into the
Hey,
hole.
it
that
was
you came
in the
from.
game. It was an option so that Doc Emmer could actually say the line, "The Sea Dogs score." Like that's why I chose it.
Still sued.
Still sued.
Still sued.
What happens when we're all wrong and it's just something bland and horrible?
I mean, there's also been people have been saying
Seattle puck star.
people have been saying they'll call them the Pilots. Which, of
I've
course,
been hearing
which
Pilots
was-
a lot.
Which was
Yeah.
the baseball
Brewers.
franchise before they became the Brewers, right?
Yeah.
and then the Mariners came into the league eight
We
years later.
got
8
David
years
with
later.
another one.
Another one is suggested was Toto.
That's a good one.
Totem.
I like that.
That's a good one.
Solid.
Yeah, that would
Doesn't-
work.
There's no alliteration, and 2 syllables isn't great.
There you go.
Team names.
So, but I think we're all in agreement. We're all excited that there's going to be a 32nd NHL franchise. And I think Seattle's a great city to do it. And of
Yeah, they
course-
wouldn't have selected if they weren't ready.
Right.
It's better than Kansas City, no offense.
Yeah.
So. Ooh.
Ooh.
Hey, listen, I will have you know, guys, there's a
That is-
Canadian
wait,
in
that-
this room right now.
That sounds very specific and born of pain. I love the Quebecois. Hello, Quebecois fans of Geeks.
A lot of great game
What
developers
they
up in
do.
Quebecois.
Bring back the 76ers. No,
Yeah.
76. The
Nordiques.
Expos. Let's get those Expos.
The Expos come back. Yeah, I know. They're playing games up there, right? Isn't somebody going up to
yeah.
Montreal, or is that?
There's a talk about the Rays
Yeah.
splitting time between Tampa
Yeah.
and Montreal, so that they won't fill a stadium in 2 cities.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Those are gonna be the happiest
it's
players.
look,
in MLB.
baseball is desperate right now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
that they'd be
the
like
Blue
so-
Jays
So
can't
is
go
it
see-
talk that it'd be like one half of the season?
Yeah.
And they really like then after no matter what place they're in. So first place, last place, middle, they relocate and start like a new. I mean, so to speak, like a new season where your team. It's like getting someone's fantasy team that's already halfway through the season. You know that feeling like win, lose, or draw. It'd be sort of strange when the players come to town and
They're gonna migrate.
whatever.
Like they start the season like up north and then they go south.
Okay.
I don't know how it works. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they actually made the playoffs. Where would they play where would they play their games? Would they play them back in Tampa, or would they play them in Montreal?
Nassau Coliseum.
Oh yeah, no, it's a bad
bad
idea.
idea.
Look, baseball's in a lot of trouble. Their new commissioner does not know what he's doing at all. I never thought I would long for the days that Bud Selig would come back, but that's kind of where I'm at with baseball. So
And Pete Rose is still not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's spend 2 hours talking about that.
Isn't Jeter? No, Jeter's involved with the Marlins. He's not. He's on the Rays.
no, Jeter's with the Marlins.
But just the
yeah.
basics, like the owners and the sponsors, like we're the official hot dog of the first half of the MLB season. It's just sort of an interesting
So
sale.
Starbucks would sponsor them for the first half, and Tim Hortons would sponsor them for the second.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, the idea of letting your team go.
Now it makes sense.
Well, how would you feel like if you knew your team, like even undefeated, right? We're still leaving, not just leaving town, like leaving the country, right? Like it would just be a new kind of fan.
The
like
kids are gonna be so confused.
little half jerseys they'd wear, like they'd become like the normal
Yeah.
double throwbacks.
I feel bad for the kids.
Yes.
Would they change their colors too, depending on what city they're in? Like, would they go back to the Expos colors when they were in Montreal?
That
or
would
they,
be amazing.
that would be great, actually.
Kind of have to
Yeah,
do that.
I'd bust out my Expos jersey.
Yeah, the Expos were very underrated. That was a very underrated uniform.
Would
Powder
their
blue.
all-star jerseys actually be? Wait, when you went into the
They
Hall
have-
of Fame and you wore a hat from this new hybrid cityless team.
So like in California, we have these hats, these weird hats with the A's on one side and the Giants on the other. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Those people are very confused, by the way.
Yeah. David, you had another question.
Would there field to be filled with Toronto fans if they go play in the Expos?
I mean, I would imagine that you'd have to see some Toronto fans.
You got one
migrate.
right here.
Yeah.
I had season tickets to Jays game. Well, my dad did, I guess, as a kid. I probably went to, I don't know, a few hundred Jays games. But
I'm sorry.
no, they were great. They were winning. this is like the early mid-90s.
Do not tell
They
me
were-
this is
Oh,
1993.
Yeah, it is. 90,
Oh.
92
Oh,
through
yeah, they have
96.
the '93 Phillies.
I don't wanna talk
1990, I
about
was
it.
at the NL or the
You're a big Mitch
ALCS
Williams fan, huh?
game. Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Okay, for those who know, the Phillies lost to the Blue
Yeah,
Jays in
it was
1993 horrendously.
Yeah, and I don't. I
Yeah.
think
Oh.
that part of the country that isn't like New York, Boston, Excella corridor, Philly fans is like we need a team that isn't those teams. You know, so we go with like the Jays, or the non-existent Expos, or like people like the Tigers somehow. And you know, it's like okay, cool. You're in New York and you're like Detroit, but you know, you got to pick a team that isn't the Yankees or the Mets.
Yeah, there's only 8 teams to pick from in New York, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Right, and you don't want to be any of their fans.
Yes.
All right. So let's move on now to football. We've got we're a week away from the football season, less than a week away actually from getting underway, and we have
NFL fans, anybody?
yeah, woo,
All right.
we have a diverse game it here: Niners, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Bills. First off, I think the Seahawks are looking pretty good here against Seattle home crowd. I mean, I think they're going to be solid. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough year with the Rams, obviously, the team to beat.
Was that real?
Mr. Kirk, you have something to say about your 49ers, sir?
4 wins, 4-12. Thank you.
They are.
Everyone's like, we're going 8-8. I'm like, we're going 4.
Yeah.
Let's go for 4 and be happy.
I think you can be counted on for 4 wins.
Dude, oh my God.
Great stadium, though.
I think they are a lock for the regular season.
Yeah, we're gonna start. We got maybe we go 2-0, and then after that it gets ugly.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a rough year for your Niners. McKinnon already might be missing the first.
He's gone. He's done.
He's done again?
They said he's out for the season.
Again?
That's what I heard today.
Wow! Breaking news: McKinnon's gonna miss another full season.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oof. I'm
Tony
sorry.
G, like, who knows? Maybe he's back. We're totally taking on the Rams, bro. That's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
You said Rams are gonna win it, and I was like, yeah, they will.
Yeah. So I think we're all pretty much in agreement then there for the NFC West. A little more interesting, I think, might be the NFC East. We've got 3 of the 4 teams represented here. The 4th team does not matter whatsoever. Cowboys, Giants, Eagles. I hate to say this. This pains me to say it. I think Lee's Eagles are the team to beat this year in the NFC East.
I'm going to put the shirt on now.
Why weren't you wearing the shirt?
Well, we didn't transition into the sports part. I have to start in the nerd part and get out to the sports part. So, you like how we transition?
For those of you who are listening, Lee is actually
feels so good to
he's
wear.
He's actually putting on.
God. Oh, hey. Why
Duncan
weren't you wearing
Stanley,
that?
The geek shirt.
Thank you. He's wearing a Death Star disco ball. I like it. I'll give you a high five for that.
Y'all
I'll
are going
take
to be
it.
great, like Montreal, Tampa Bay fans when this comes around. Y'all are gonna be ready.
Switching jerseys left and right.
What if he had an Expos jersey here? That would be weird. Yeah.
That would be something. I mean, what else of this? I mean, amongst the 5 people up here, we have 15 Super Bowls. Duncan accounts for none of them. So,
Almost 4.
almost.
Bills fans consider them all victories. You know that?
Wide right. All right. So
That was cold, Ray.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry. I'm sorry. This
You
is
guys
what
like how we transitioned from we're talking about gaming. Let's kill each other, sports.
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 Yeah, I think that actually probably only with 9 or 10 wins, I think they're going to beat up on each other a lot. I think that the Lee's Eagles are actually probably the team to beat.
I didn't hear you. Sorry, say that again. Did you say
I
something?
think that Lee's
Bills all the way, that's what I
Eagles
heard.
will win the division. I think the Giants are good for 7 wins. I'm optimistic. Your Cowboys are a mess.
I think that so I'm a Cowboys fan. My house is actually painted in those Home Depot Cowboys colors.
Silver and
I'm
blue.
down. And contract problems
Yeah.
Yeah.
affect team chemistry. Like ultimately teams win.
Right.
And I think we saw with Le'Veon Bell like last year. Like I think like the willingness now to sit out for an entire year, which I think will actually happen. I think
Is Elliott out this year? Is he gonna sit
no, he's
out?
out now, and I think there's a precedent, right? And if I had the choice and I could like get hit in the knees for 20 weeks, 24 weeks, or not, right?
Still get paid.
Right. And then come back with an even stronger position in the free market. Like it's a new time. Like I think like things have changed. Like so for me, I'm a soccer fan. So there's a guy named Alan Shearer back in the day who would never let go of. He was the star of this team, Newcastle, and there was no price you could pay for Alan Shearer because he was iconic. But then they sold him, and it changed the world. And I really feel like Le'Veon Bell, like sitting out that whole season has changed the world. And we're gonna now see where that's a very viable option. Like, I might be here, I might not. And teams adjusting to that, it's gonna take a year. Like if you're built around think of any team, right? When the superstar is gone for that first season, rarely are they like, oh yeah, we just got this. Well, I mean, the Steelers had it for a second, but winning, like being a true winning team, even now it seems a little shaky. I think the Cowboys is going to take a long time for them to recover emotionally.
Yeah, I think if Zeke holds out the whole year, I think you guys will. You can cut your win total in half. I think that's how much he's worth.
If he holds
to your
out
Cowboys.
4 games, right? Because if the sub is good, then it's a mess. if the sub is bad, then we're in a hole, and everyone's now, and then things turn around. People are like, why didn't you show up first week? There isn't like a real winning outcome, I don't think.
Yeah.
To putting that money like up front like that before the football. I think, at least as fans, right? You sort of, in your heart, hope they want to play. You know what I mean? And that somehow the magic of economy happens.
But also,
before they get there.
speaking to about wanting to play, there's also the risk that if Bell comes out and has an amazing year with the Jets, you're going to start seeing
say that sentence again out loud with your heart. Really say it like you believe this could happen on Earth, not Earth like 72, but like on the Earth that we live.
Right, there is a slim chance that Bell will come out and have a great year for the Jets. There's a chance. If he does.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Exactly. If it happens.
No. There's difference having a great year, like having a lot of carries. Like, you know who had a lot of great years with the Jets? Curtis Martin.
Yeah, he did have a lot of great years.
Great Hall of Fame years with the Jets. What is your real hope?
What I'm saying is, whether they win or lose, if he puts up big numbers,
Okay.
right, the idea is that this could reset the market in a way where you'll see running backs take a year off in their prime and the possibility of extending their career further to get that big contract again.
I disagree. Like,
Really?
to lose in a new city, like if they don't win football games, right? If they are terrible and he runs for 1,642 yards, that does not make the market.
No, but I think a lot of teams though will still look at it though, because I mean the Jets are going to stink because they're the Jets, right? Like, but if he comes out and has 1,600 to 2,000 yards, you can say, well, the Jets stink, but it's not because of Bell, and it's not because of the money they paid him. It's going to be because they're, Darnold had a sophomore slump, or because their defense is full of holes. But if he comes out and puts out big numbers after taking a year off,
And
I know again it's a slim chance.
He also took all the money.
You're damn straight he took all the money, but that's what I'm saying. You're going to start seeing more running backs taking a year off in their final year of their contract to try and get more, to save themselves and make more money. There's a legit risk that this whole market could be completely changed now based on what happens with Bell. If you're a football fan, you hope Bell has a terrible year. Seriously. I think so. No, I'm serious. I think you hope that Bell.
Does Jerry Jones hope that Bell has a good year or a bad year?
I think Jones hopes that Bell has a bad year.
I disagree with you, and here's why. Like, it's like sort of, I go back to fantasy football because I play it a lot. If once you make a big mistake, if you lose the season, you don't care. So, for example, one year I decided I need 3 tight ends. It's just what I decided, right? And I won the tight end category. I had a great year in tight ends, but I lost everything in the league, and I never wanted to do it again. I think the same thing with him. Like, like if they don't win, then it's bad for running backs. It's bad for the market because guess what? They're not worth that much because you don't win football games. And I believe back in the olden days, winning football games was the measure of success.
No, that's true.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So you touted us as the team that would win the NFC East, and we won our first Super Bowl in 50 years. So we're feeling pretty on top right now. Is this what you guys felt like all the time when you were winning? I told you I'd get you back.
Yeah.
Go Eagles.
All right. Moving on.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to dwell on Willie.
No, I'm sorry. There's no comeback to that, Eagles. What? Change the topic. Ray, change the topic quickly. Hurry up.
Hey,
Is there a
so
question?
something we do on the podcast, for those of you who listen or if you're new, is we do what we call as a mashup, where we take something we had from our geekdom, and we have something from our sportsdom, and we kind of mash it together. So this week, because we mentioned about Seattle, we have no idea what their mascot's going to be. We're talking about renaming franchises. We are going to offer everybody here on the panel a chance to rename one of their favorite sports franchises with something based on geek.
Seattle Coffee Beans.
Not
one of
geeky
them.
not
enough, but
terribly
in that
geeky.
vein.
I see where you're going.
So for me, example, I would rename my New York Yankees the New York Empire. So like Star Wars, it's kind of an obvious one, of course, as many people know.
Because they're
Empire many
evil?
years, but.
Are we talking Star Wars now? I'll put my Star Wars t-shirt. Hold on.
Well, Duncan also has a Star Wars shirt. So all right,
yeah.
so quick change
I
over here.
You gotta pay me for this.
I'm doing it. Got my hat back.
All right. I don't know. I think I like Duncan's Star Wars shirt more.
How about this one? We want to wear this one? No.
It's a Nintendo controller for those
I
of you.
got like 600 T-shirts here to pick from.
So, example, New York Empire. Let's we'll start. I'll start here with Lee. Lee, you tell me, what would you turn your Philadelphia team into geek-wise?
Aside from the Philadelphia snowball throwers at Santa.
Batteries.
The
Giants fans throw snowballs. Eagle fans throw batteries.
Before the World Series and the Super Bowl, our greatest athlete was a fictional boxer. He won like 5 times, and then So I think 6, yeah, maybe. I mean, we don't count one of those movies. But I think the Philadelphia Fictional Boxers is a great name. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Rockies was taking, he's got a statue. He's got a very prominent statue. We've had championship boxers for real, and Rocky has a statue in Philadelphia. All right, very good championship boxers. So I would, it's a little bit on the edge of sports and nerddom, but I think it counts. So the Philadelphia Fictional Boxers.
Movies count. Movies can be geeky. We will allow it. Gordon, I'll go to you.
Well, if I'm renaming and I'm geeky, and obviously I'm going to go global because I want to get all that revenue, all that merch.
Get it.
If you're going to change
Get
the
it.
name, you got to get all that merch.
Gotta get it.
And there was really only one name for us: Dallas Bebop. Thank you.
Like it.
Who
Very
would not buy a Dallas Bebop T-shirt? No one I like.
I get it.
I have a better. I'll jump in here. I have a better Dallas team name that
Give it.
crosses with the movie and the Batman franchise. The Dallas Knights.
Yes.
Oh.
Was in Any Given Sunday.
Fair.
They were the team that their quarterback lost their eyeball, if you remember that amazing scene. They were the Dallas Knights, and also from Batman, there was the Gotham Knights.
That's right.
So I think you can kind of mash that together in a sports mashup and lock it all up with absolutely no licensing problems.
Yeah, there you go.
Or eyeballs lost.
Yeah, or hopefully eyeballs
Yeah.
lost.
Who would you name a Buffalo team, though?
In my world, the Buffalo team has ascended and no longer needs to play because everyone has recognized them as the best. The Buffalo Angels, because they're
There you go.
non-corporeal, because they're just so good.
All right, Mel, bring us home. What do you gonna
I'm
read?
living in real fantasy here. So the Niners, they moved from San Francisco proper with Candlestick Park, which had the fog, which would roll over the stadium in baseball and football games and be magical. They moved south to Santa Clara, and you can't even get in the stadium or out of the stadium. It's horrible.
One lane.
So if it's up to me, I'm bringing them back
Yes.
to Candlestick, and we are the San Francisco Mistborn. We have elementic powers.
Wow, that was a reaction.
There we go. We have elementic
We got
powers.
that on
and
camera.
We
Born.
dominate every year. We bring everybody back, and
We
we
have
got
to rebuild
it. We got it
Candlestick,
done.
but
Like
I
it.
am.
Nice.
Thank you.
I like it.
Very cool. All right, so we have a little extra time here. Do you guys, anybody else out in the audience, have any more questions for our panel or for myself or for what's going on here?
Or a new name for your sports team.
Yeah, if you,
We
you
will
guys have a
name it
question.
for you.
Yeah. Where are you guys from again?
Yeah, just
Mostly.
throw out,
We got
throw out
Austin
team names
over
for us.
here,
We
we
can
got
savage you. we
Denver.
We can give you
Okay.
a team name, make fun of your team, whatever you want.
Detroit? What would you rename your team? Detroit always.
Oh,
human.
right on. I feel good. Hey, own it.
All right, it's got.
Okay.
I just love to share cool things. If you are a sports fan, there's a site called sportslogos.net. If you've not been there like on a daily basis, you're missing out on like breakfast. It's so good. So good. Like exploring like the identities of different sports teams, like sort of feeding off your question.
Right.
You can see like every logo ever for like every team ever. And it's just a good time putting it out there.
Including the Seattle Metropolitans, 1917
Let's-
Stanley Cup winners.
Let's we got a question.
Now, so I'm a rugby fan, and Seattle has a rugby team.
Yeah. Woo! 2-time champion.
Seattle Seawolves.
Oh, that's sick as hell.
Worried that we get a hockey team that's another S name, and especially B, that we get a basketball team that they like come back to the Sonics.
Right.
End up with 4 S teams, and it's like Seattle super alliteration.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Like the Seawolves is taken.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
A little bit, and then it's just going to be because the Mariners feel so at home right now, and it feels so right.
Yeah.
But if we have 4 Seattle national sports teams, and then the Mariners off by themselves, so
Isn't that the way it is now?
Oh.
Boy, it's getting steamy in here.
Yeah.
So, like, do you think that they take that into consideration at all when naming the hockey team?
So the question is do you think that there will be, they will take the alliteration idea into consideration when they name the Seattle team? So taking basically the Seattle Salmon off the board
Yeah.
just to avoid all the S sounds that are there,
Yeah, that's-
which nobody wants the salmon anyway.
Yeah.
But this will be a good reason. What do you guys think?
I'll tell you this. I think that if we're looking forward to a basketball team coming back here, I actually think they should be called the Supersonics because of the way that team left here. I
Yep.
think that's only fair, and the save our Sonics chant would actually come to fruition. The hockey team, I mean, I have no idea what kind of market research they're doing into that. I think that the Golden Knights actually kind of broke a lot of boundaries with their minor league name, and I'm not saying that to be funny. I mean, that's not a typical name for. I mean, I know we have the Red Wings and the Blackhawks, but Golden Knights, that was a gutsy move. Now, their first season obviously fortified them in the NHL forever, but I think I'm from Philadelphia. The Flyers were named through a contest. A lot of people don't realize that. So I would poll the people. I mean, they're the people going to the games, but that's not always how it goes, Yeah, Bodie McBoatface, yeah. Or Agoon is your all-star champion. I don't know, but again, a lot goes into the marketing, a lot goes into the area. I mean, I have no idea what they're going to do with it, but here's what will happen. They'll name it, everyone will hate it, right? Look, here's a quick story, right? You guys know Gritty, Philadelphia's mascot?
Hell yeah.
All right, so we love Gritty, but it was the most genius marketing campaign ever. He came out, and everyone in Philadelphia went, "What the hell is this? Are you serious? Like, this is disgusting, right?" Then some Ranger fan, like, "Look at this stupid mascot down in Philly." Don't you talk about our mascot that way. Gritty is our mascot. Who the hell are you? You know what, New York? And overnight, I was the most brilliant thing I've
Brady
ever
is
seen.
an international phenomenon.
He really is.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
Gritty on Conan now. It's like all
He's
over
got
the place.
different color belly buttons.
Gritty
Yeah.
gave a child a suspension during.
So here's the thing: we broke that video. My group broke that, and we wrote that Gritty literally just kidnapped a child. Someone should call someone. The child still hasn't been seen. But that's how it works, right? Like Seattle will hate the name. There'll be one person like, "Great name," and then someone will make fun of it. Vancouver, the Canucks, are like, "That's stupid," and then you'll love the name, or you won't.
Yeah, we'll be having a parade for the name. Yeah. That makes sense.
It's actually sort of like a real different time. Like, maybe I came up in the fans vote thing, right? But now you're like, we need to market it, and you're like, what meme is going to be your team name? Like, it really is like if you think about it, like a different time, like if it doesn't pop on the Instagram, then it's a terrible name.
Seattle
It
Ligma.
used to be like more of a community identity thing.
There's a
versus
lot of
like a
A/B testing going on.
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
gonna be and
Seattle,
they
I
got,
has
and they got to aim
cheeseburgers.
young
David's
too.
got
Like they don't need like new 50-year-old hockey fans, right? They got to find out a way,
Yeah.
however you do it, to get like a 10-year-old, which is hard to really think about, like a 10-year-old to want to go to a hockey game in Seattle and pay. I don't know the pricing, right? But just general in my head, right? $50 a ticket, $200 a family to go see. Is there a big, deep hockey culture? I mean, I know there's hockey players and fans, but is there really like a hockey, like, the high school championships of hockey in Seattle? Is that like a thing?
There's a lot of hockey fans that are all just from everywhere else. But Stanley Cup playoff times, this city is covered in
Okay.
Like different jerseys, you're saying, like all over the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the Florida Panthers, but everybody else. I got you. Yeah.
Do you
Oh,
think
come
they'll do,
on,
like,
you guys
green
know
and
they're not
blue, like
going
very
anywhere, yeah.
Seattle-y colors? Or are they going to go
yeah.
like zag in some totally different direction?
No, I think it's going to stick to the theme of all the other teams.
I think we should vote on this panel what the new name should be, and then when it's not that, we get real mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna come back.
Yeah, we're gonna come back.
to an
to that.
angry
So let's do
panel.
this. Let's go down the line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Steelhead because that sounds awesome. Also a Microsoft product.
It's a tough one, Ray. What do you?
I'm going to say the Kraken.
the Kraken would be
Kraken's
great.
sick.
I
That
like
would be
the,
cool.
like the if you can, do they own Thunderbird? Or is that too appropriation? Is that like not? That's the sort of thing. I guess you don't want to name the mascot after cultures anymore. So, the Thunder. Yeah.
Isn't that already?
Thunder.
That's an
Oh, because
Yeah,
wait,
yeah,
for it.
with Oklahoma City.
Tampa Bay will love
No,
that.
Now you're liking it a little more, aren't you? It's
Little
growing on
lightning
you
and a little
bit. It's
thunder.
growing on you.
What about
Yeah,
the
Thunder.
yeah? Where are we?
Yeah,
on
like
the,
you
where
got
are
the
we on
Thunder back,
Jacks?
the things. Oh my God, the billboards make themselves. The jerseys could be like Seattle colors. It's like a little bit of a goosh at Oklahoma City.
Totally gonna work.
Let me ask this: who's going to see the new team when they're here? Who's going to go see the team? Right? Is the name going to stop you from seeing them? No. All right.
There you go.
Are you upset that you won't have a Marc-Andre Fleury in the draft? Yeah. Was that unfair that Vegas got that and nobody else will?
Yeah. Yep.
It was well done. Is it going to upset you that all the teams protect their young players and everybody's going to trade everybody next season? No? We'll see.
It'll be very interesting to see what draft rules they do for that year's expansion draft.
Well, they need people in the building, so I'm sure it'll be favorable to the city.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody other questions or? We got a few. Okay.
Also, how do people follow your podcast? You got to let them know how to be
yeah,
part of the
I know.
community. Your fans are here.
Before we conclude, it's all here. It's on the board. Like, we are literally on everything that you could possibly get a podcast on. And if we're not on it, let us know, and we'll probably get on it very shortly.
Yes.
Also, geekswhoLikeSports.com. We have a Facebook group that's growing every day, so feel free to join. We love the discourse. We love talking with people. You know, I mean, this is what this is all about. You know, it's opening up and just talking about whether it's Avengers or Seattle sports or
the Buffalo Angels. Yeah.
Yep, the Buffalo Angels.
Looking forward to that.
Surprised
They
didn't say
finally
the Buffalo
went-
Wings. The Buffalo Wings.
Win
That's what it
another
should be.
Super Bowl and then all ascend into heaven.
We actually had an
You've
Avengers
thought
back
this
in the
out.
'80s.
Oh yeah, that's February 2020. It's
LA
happening.
Avengers.
Be there.
Just a quick note: wearing 3 T-shirts gets really warm. Just want you guys to know. Yeah. I'm gonna stick it out though. Let's get the questions. We only have a few minutes left. I
All
have
right,
a
all
few
right.
hands up.
Atlanta. Sorry, dude.
Carolina.
As a big Hurricanes fan, Ron Francis was an absolute pinnacle.
Yeah.
GMs, as we all know, right? So, how does everyone think that he's going to do in Seattle?
All right.
Clearly, he can't do any worse.
The question is how do we think Ron Francis will do as GM of Seattle? I think he'll do. I mean, look, I think it's going to be what players are available to him in the expansion draft is going to define a lot of what he does here with Seattle.
It's also who he surrounds himself with. I mean,
Yeah.
GM is just one person there, but I know what you're saying. It all comes down to that draft, though, and the 3 to 5 year plan. I mean, I'd be more interested to see, like Ray said, what the NHL does draft-wise, because I'm a 50-50 guy on Vegas. Got lucky. Vegas put a lot of stuff together to get to the Cup final. That was not all luck. I mean, they had a lot of things they were riding on. They had a good team. They had a good coach. They had a good chemistry. And it was really a team of 3rd and 4th liners that just grinded it out. And I don't think they get enough credit for what they did. But ask me after the draft. I'll give you more. I'll tell you if he sucks in hindsight. It is. It really is. For those of you who watch hockey, I mean, the ability to have a 3rd and 4th line that can grind out your 1st and 2nd line or just keep it going, it's integral to winning. 100%.
Yep.
Totally agree. Not a Thrashers fan, are you? I know, I was joking because of the Atlanta thing, but that's
Deep toward the end of your panel here, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on like the state of sports video games these days, because it seems like I'm hearing NBA 2K20 is once again loaded with microtransactions.
Mhm. Oof.
Pissing off a lot.
yeah, should piss people off.
I think that we need to get rid of the monopolies in sports games. We talked about this in the podcast a
we
couple
did.
weeks ago, and we grew up with, you had so many different, you had Joe Montana football, you had Tecmo Bowl, you had so many baseball games, RBI baseball, bases loaded, Tommy Lasorda baseball. Like, I mean, there was just MVP baseball, All-Star
We
baseball.
read them off.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
we
yeah,
read
like, I
like
mean,
50 of them off.
so I think the worst thing that's happened to sports games is this monopoly, and I get that it's all money and everything, and they kind of have you over a barrel. And I know EA has tried to come back with NBA Live, but it's nowhere near what 2K has been doing.
Yeah.
I think there's just simply a different compulsion, right? Like, there's a compulsion of identity, right? When you play a game as a way of enjoying like a sport throughout the week. And there's a compulsion of like almost borderline like gambling compulsion, right? And I think you see it's not just sports, right? There's lots of games where people feel bad not playing versus feeling good playing, right? If that makes sense, and that's sort of where the line, right? Like what you're describing, like your feelings. So you're not talking about the features or passing or dunking or trades. You're like, I feel bad because they're making me buy this silver card or whatever. I don't feel good, right? Playing the games. Like when we were growing up, I think, at least for me, like I felt really good, even in the arcade, right? Which was a microtransaction, but I felt good playing the games. I didn't feel like bad, like I gotta steal some quarters to play this game. Like
Complete value, like I know, random example here because Mel's here. Star Wars Pinball and Nintendo Switch, where all the games are in place and stuff.
We don't do microtrans.
Exactly.
It's not even in our thought.
All in one place, you don't have to worry about it, and you're happy, and there you go.
We
There you
treat
go.
people how we want to be treated. We don't like that. So
Compared to like NBA 2K20 where you have to buy it.
I think that's a great note to end the panel on. Geeks Who Like Sports is very anti-microtransaction. So, yeah. So, guys, thank you so very much for coming out tonight.
Yeah, especially this late.
To our panel. It means a lot. We know it's late, so go out, have a drink, have a bite, have yourselves a good time. Enjoy the rest of your show. This has been Geeks Who Like Sports. Again, we're on all of these different services here. Please download, subscribe. We really appreciate it. GeeksWhoLikeSports.com and Geeks Who Like Sports on Facebook. Thank you all, and we will hopefully hear you next time. Good night.
Go Bills, 16-0.